On this episode of Famous Families, one of the biggest and best-known families in show business, the Osmonds, featuring rare footage of the original Osmond barbershop quartet, never-before-seen photos and home videos from the Osmond family archives, and an exclusive interview with the family's hottest stars, Donnie and Marie Osmond.
The original Donnie and Marie show ended back in 1979. And we just wanted to go our own separate ways. We wanted to do our own things.
You'll find out about the lucky break that made them stars.
My father called me one day and said that he had found these 4 boys. You've got to give them a break. You've got to put them on.
You'll hear first-hand stories about their highest highs.
When the records started to happen and the girls started to scream and there was kind of pandemonium going around, and we weren't sure how to quite take that. It took us by surprise.
And their lowest lows.
We always had this image of the perfect family. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but we had our problems too.
If you're a longtime fan, or if you're just curious, Famous Families' close-up look at the Osmonds is one episode you won't want to miss.
The Osmond family's musical legacy began over 40 years ago with a barbershop quartet in Ogden, Utah. Since then, they've been reborn as teen pop stars, a brother and sister duo, and now as owners of one of the most popular musical theaters in Branson, Missouri. Even after 4 decades in show business, dozens of concert tours, their own cartoon series, and 47 gold and platinum records, the Osmonds remain what they've always been. A family built on strong religious principles and the simple motto of one for all and all for one.
The Osmonds, from singing to dancing, from country to comedy, and everything in between. The Osmonds have done it all, and they're still doing it after more than 40 years in show business. They're Donnie, Marie, Verl, Tom, Alan, Wayne, Merrill, Jay, and Jimmy. And of course, the ones who started it all. Their proud parents, George and Olive Osmond, whose family of performers now includes 52 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. To find out how it all began, we have to travel back to the year 1944. Joe Louis was the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. TV was in its infancy, and World War II was in its 5th year. In January of that year, after completing a 3-year tour of duty in the Army, 26-year-old Sergeant George Osmond was released from active duty due to persistent stomach problems. George turned up at a military depot in Ogden, Utah, looking for work. It was there he met a talented young lady named Olive Davis.
She encountered him one day in uniform in the Hill Air Force Base up in Ogden. When he walked in the office, she was secretary in the office, and she commented to another lady that was in there, "One day I'm going to marry that man."
Olive played the saxophone in a local dance band, and George enjoyed singing. The two began performing together, cementing the bond that would lead to a successful musical family.
My father sang barbershop music when he was young, not professionally, and my mother played saxophone in a dance band. So they would really believe in letting us express our talents through music.
On December 1st, 1944, George and Olive married. As members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormon Church, they immediately began making plans to build a strong family, a cornerstone of their beliefs.
The church has some wonderful teachings and beliefs in regards to family, mainly that family is important. Family is the central part of our Heavenly Father's plan for His children.
When you're grounded well in family, God, and religion, and purpose of life, you know, I think it does something to you, and it keeps your feet on the ground.
In a year's time, George and Olive happily gave birth to their first son, George Verl Osmond Jr. Their second son, Tom, followed 2 years later, They soon discovered that Verl and Tom would be uniquely different from the rest of their children.
My brother Verl and my brother Tom, the two oldest members of my family, were born with severe hearing disabilities.
My parents were very brave people, I think, because they had their first son and their second son, and they were both deaf. And I think it was a lot of courage, took a lot of courage on their part to continue with the large family that they wanted.
Verl had roughly 40% of his hearing. Tom was completely deaf. George and Olive responded by teaching Verl and Tom sign language at home and spent countless hours teaching Tom to speak before enrolling the boys in a school for the hearing impaired.
Through the perseverance and the patience and the home training that Olive did above and beyond their schooling, and the constant reading, making sure that the state-of-the-art equipment was brought to these boys, and that she started investigating everything she possibly could about children who were deaf, and they became part of the deaf school up in Ogden, Utah.
They tap danced together and they played the saxophone even though they were hard of hearing, and they did a few things with us as a family.
Despite warnings from doctors not to have more children, George and Olive's strong religious beliefs kept their family plans going full speed ahead.
They were cautioned that possibly this was a gene, that they should consider not having any more children. But being people of great faith, they thought if they all come to us this way, we're going to love them as much as we do these two. And those kids had a great home. They had great parents.
My parents were instructed to not have any more kids. Boy, am I glad they didn't listen, because I'm number 9.
We have 9 children in the family. Verl, Tommy, Alan, Wayne, Merrill, Jay, Donnie, Marie, and Jimmy.
Family togetherness was extremely important in George and Olive's large household.
Every weekend, our dad loved to take us in the station wagon, load us all up with sleeping bags and stuff, and we'd go out to the drive-ins. And we'd all be loaded in, all 9 of us, and our mother and father, and we'd just watch movies in drive-ins. Those days, the drive-in movies were pretty clean and easy to go take a family to.
We believe first that the family comes first, your religion comes second, and then whatever you do for a living comes third. And that's how our priorities are.
The family would be everything, and the friends would be kept at school. So the family code would be very together, be isolated from the rest of the world.
Our father had a saying that I think it was his favorite. It was all for one and one for all.
Other key elements in the Osmond household were discipline and structure.
My father was an Army sergeant, and so he set up the bedroom as like a barracks, and we woke up to reveille every morning. You know, my brother learned the trumpet, and so it was. I'm glad he threw away that trumpet, but it was really interesting growing up.
My brother Alan, that's how he learned how to play the trumpet. He took a bugle.
The Osmonds' love of music encouraged every family member to sing, to dance, and to learn to play a musical instrument. Their church encouraged family get-togethers, so every Friday was family night. And that's where they began performing together and for each other.
Every Friday night we'd have a party. And they'd take turns being master of ceremonies, and they'd all be part of the program. And that's where they started singing. And then when they'd learn a song, then we'd invite the grandparents, both sides, to come and have a big dinner with us. And we'd have the floor show. And the floor show was the boys singing, and they would play saxophones. That's where I taught them the saxophones. And they would recite poetry, and they'd give talks, and maybe the baby would just tumble over for us or something. We always had fun on Friday nights.
Each one of us were in charge of the program depending on the week, and would prepare a new song every week. And out of that love and excitement of getting together and having a special event, just as a family, grew a real tremendous interest in singing together and harmonizing together.
By 1961, George knew his children were truly talented. According to Olive, even though they were quite young, they all could carry a tune and began performing in the Ogden area. Although George was busy running his real estate company, he always had time for singing. He formed the Osmonds Barbershop Quartet, featuring Alan, Wayne, Merrill, and Jay. Alan, the oldest of the 4, eventually took charge of the group.
The earliest musical memories I have is riding in the back of the car. We always loved to sing. My father loves to sing. And he'd get us all singing in the car, and I was sitting behind his chair. And what I remember is he was singing a part that was a lot different than what the others were singing. And it intrigued me, and I started singing his part. Pretty soon I found that I was singing the harmony, and I got so my ear could hear those parts.
Our family has always been interested in music. We have always loved music, and when we were little, we would perform in different civic groups in church. At 4 years old, I was on stage, and we were performing on weekends. And it intensified as we got more and more interested in earning money to send our brothers on missions. That's how it basically started.
Someone called and said, we have a party, and we'll pay if you come over and sing for us. Pay? That's great, you know. So they gave us $5, and that gave us each $1 apiece and $1 for gas money for our parents. And we said, boy, this is good stuff. We've got to keep singing. We can make $1.
Our grandfather Davis really liked the way, we were as a group, and he put up the money to have a video made, which was a black and white film in those days, of us singing and performing.
Love to sing, you bet. So hello to everyone. Hi there.
The Osmond Quartet, formed by George, had spent the past 5 years polishing and perfecting their act and preparing for the showbiz life. When we return, a trip to Disneyland leads to a dream come true.
He said, well, come sing us a song. And so we sang them one, and they sang us another one, went back and forth. A whole bunch of people started gathering around.
Up next on Famous Families. In 1962, the Osmonds promotional film was finished. The boys' grandfather Davis was so pleased with it that he suggested they send it to the Lawrence Welk Show.
He said, you guys need to be on the Lawrence Welk Show. And so we put the film together and sent it to Mr. Welk. And he invited us to come out there to California and meet him. We were right there in his office. He was next door and had to cancel because he had an appointment. And so we didn't get to see him.
So everyone had made the long trip from Utah to California only to be really disappointed. And so what happened is my father is always such a positive motivator. He decided, hey, we're going to Disneyland. So we all went to Disneyland.
We saw this barbershop quartet singing on the streets of Disneyland. And so we went over there and watched them for a minute. And they noticed that we were all dressed alike. And they said, well, you guys look like a barbershop quartet. I said, yeah, we are. He said, well, come sing us a song. And so we sang them one, and they sang us another one, went back and forth. A whole bunch of people started gathering around. And so they took us in to their boss, Tommy Walker, at the time in Disneyland. And he listened to us, and he told Walt Disney about us. And so they put us on 2 of Walt Disney's shows called Disneyland After Dark.
With the Osmond Brothers Quartet, we love to sing, you bet. So hello to everyone. Hi there. I'm Alan. I'm Wayne. I'm Meryl. I'm Jay, and I'm 6 years old.
Andy Williams' father, Jay Williams, heard the Osmond Brothers Quartet singing at Disneyland. He was so impressed, he arranged for them to audition for Andy's upcoming television series.
My father called me one day and said that he had found these 4 boys. He said they're the same ages that you and your brothers were when you first started. You've got to give them a break. You've got to put them on. I said, Dad, this is big time stuff we're into now. And we've got Jack Benny here and Bob Hope, and we're trying to get ratings and things. He said, I'm bringing them over. So we brought them over to the studio where we were rehearsing, and so we stopped the rehearsal and listened to these 4 boys, and they were terrific.
We had actually done 2 shows on the Andy Williams show. That's all they had given us, and we came back home and settled in for school, thinking this was over with. We'd had our little flurry. And one night we were sitting there having dinner, and Andy's father called and offered us a 5-year contract, which meant we'd give up 18 years of putting a business together and leaving home and our families and going to California. It was quite a decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Osmond Brothers.
We're the Osmond Brothers Boys Quartet, and we're all tuned up to go.
We weren't really caught up with whether we're going to be famous or not, or even tracking our career, or even planning it in a long range. The momentum of performing and constantly doing that and practicing and playing in front of people just kind of it was kind of snowballing for us.
Their popularity started to grow, and the dancing and the instrumentation started to develop the more they were on television. They had to change their act. They couldn't just keep doing barbershop. They would do production numbers with Andy at the opening and closing of his show. And that incorporated a lot of dancing and a lot of visuals, a lot of movement. And the talent just started coming out. The discipline proved itself worthwhile. They became entertainers and household words. The Osmond Brothers were born.
The Andy Williams show was a lot of wonderful moments, but a lot of stress because of the way we treated it. We were known as the one-take Osmonds. Just give it to the Osmonds of the one take. Well, that's driving perfection almost right down on the nail, because you had to do it right and the pressure was on, you know.
I mean, one day I said, and this was after they'd been with me for a year or so, I said, have you ever thought of playing instruments and maybe getting into a little more rock and roll? They said, good, wonderful idea. They all got instruments, but then about 3 months they were all playing really well. And I think by that time, Donnie had joined the group, so now there were 5 of them, and Donnie was playing piano.
Donnie began performing with his brothers when he was only 5. He was an instant success with a television audience.
You mean you have a brother?
Yes, sir.
Well, where is he? Is he here?
Donnie became an overnight sensation when he was introduced by the Osmond Brothers on the Andy Williams Show. This is our little brother, Donnie. He's the youngest of the performing family. When Donnie would come out and try to mimic his brother's singing style and try to mimic their dance steps, the audience ate it up because he was so tiny.
When the Osmond Brothers Quartet began giving more time to little brother Donnie, they noticed he was the crowd pleaser. His charm and charisma was apparent at an early age. He helped boost the group's popularity, and they began winning the hearts of teenage fans everywhere. As the years passed and their fame grew, so did the act, and there were 2 remaining talented Osmond siblings. Jimmy started performing with the group when he was 3, and eventually Marie joined too.
My brothers would sing their barbershop harmony or whatever, and then I would come out and do my bit and then run off and then come out for the finale. But the act ended up changing as I grew older. It was the Osmond Brothers, and then I joined, and then Marie joined, and then it became the Osmonds.
Over the next 7 years, the Osmond Brothers were regulars on the Andy Williams Show and became headliners, attracting fans worldwide. The group was known for pushing to the top, and the next logical step in their career was to record a record.
I remember the day when I was asked to sing lead. It was in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and the song was One Bad Apple. And we all got up on the microphone to see who had the best sound, and I got picked. And then I sang the basic lead, and then Donnie did the answers. And then that was the sound. We decided to record, and then we had this hit called One Bad Apple. And it opened up a new door for us, a whole new realm.
I remember sitting at home in Los Angeles. We were listening to the radio on the countdown, and it came up there to number, and now the #1 record, the Osmonds, One Bad Apple. We screamed like crazy.
2 months after One Bad Apple was released, the Osmonds became instant teen sensations. By 1971, the Osmonds, as a group and solo artists, won a collective total of 9 gold records that superseded the Beatles and Elvis's gold record sales in a single year. Other hits soon followed.
When the records started to happen and the girls started to scream and there was kind of pandemonium going around, and we weren't sure how to quite take that. It took us by surprise. We didn't get caught up with it. In fact, we were a little nervous of it because when you'd go out into a crowd or, and they would scream and grab your hair, and it wasn't any fun to get into that kind of a situation.
Hysteria with the Osmonds was an everyday occurrence. There were more times than not that I feared for my own life, let alone theirs.
In 1973, when we landed at Heathrow Airport, it was just a mob scene over there in England. We couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable.
The Osmonds were protected by extra police, and as the singers waved to the crowds, a barricade on the viewing balcony gave away. Police had a difficult time pushing back the girls, who kept surging forward despite the falling bricks.
One of the most amazing exits that we ever made in London, because of the amount of people outside, and the Bobbies just wanted to get us out, was that 2 fire trucks showed up. One in front, one in back, 2 police cars behind them, and then our limo was in the middle. And we didn't know what they were doing this for. Because we just got in the car, they slammed it, they locked it, and here we went, sirens going, and all of a sudden the hoses at full force were blowing people right out of the streets, clearing the way. I couldn't believe it.
By 1974, collectively, the Osmonds were world-famous singing sensations who had earned over 34 gold and platinum records. With the success of One Bad Apple, the Osmonds became worldwide sensations, and there was another addition to the group waiting in the wings. When Famous Families returns, what happens when you add a little country to a little rock and roll?
That combo duo, Donnie and Marie really came out and started to blossom there.
The answer when we come back. Although the Osmond brothers shared their fame and success, younger brother Donnie was constantly singled out as the group star. After the release of their hit record, One Bad Apple, Donnie Osmond became an international teen idol.
And little by little, day by day, record by record, Donnie established himself as a real artist and a real entertainer.
And it was the perfect time for a white, young male artist to come out and to be their puppy love. I mean, when you think about it all was perfect, wasn't it? And it was all that little innocent sex appeal with the man of their dreams. It all just worked, you know. It was great. It was great. I didn't have any problem balancing it, of being a devout Mormon and being a sex symbol. I mean, that's a name that people put on it. I had a big black book, but it was very rarely used.
While Donnie and his brothers continued to dominate the spotlight, the Osmond family was about to produce yet another singing sensation, little sister Marie.
Marie didn't even want to be in the entertainment business. I remember many times we'd try to get her to sing a song or work on a guitar lick, and she just didn't have any interest.
And they wanted to try her out. They wanted to see what kind of audience appeal she had and how she liked it.
Marie had been performing with us off and on as kind of like a solo artist, this little novelty act, you know, the only little girl in a family of 9. And she'd come on, sing her little songs, and then we'd kick her off stage.
She was well received, and she liked it. She thought, golly, I'm waking up to something here I didn't know I liked.
Actually, I'm the one that made them change their name to the Osmonds. It could no longer be the Osmond brothers.
But it wasn't until about 73, when Marie introduced Paper Roses, she really became a full-time fixture on stage.
Paper roses. Oh, how real those roses seem to be. But they're only imitation, like your imitation love.
I was in England with my brothers when I found out that Paper Roses went to #1. And I kept saying, get out of here. No way. There's no way. And I guess I still am the youngest female to have her solo debut record go to #1.
By the early 70s, both Donnie and Marie were attracting sizable teen audiences, a fact that soon caught the attention of TV executives.
That's when Fred Silverman, who was president of ABC at the time, said that would make a very interesting show. And that's when the Donnie and Marie Show was created.
Hi, I'm Donnie.
And I'm Marie.
Tonight, I guess the Osmond brothers.
In 1976, the Donnie and Marie Show premiered on television sets across America. With the spotlight shining most brightly on Donnie and Marie, their supportive older brothers moved behind the scenes, and the family worked together to ensure the show's success.
The Osmonds have kind of a philosophy. To us, it doesn't matter which Osmond's out front, as long as it's an Osmond.
Wayne did tons of music. Bless his heart. He worked so hard.
I was working in the audio and making sure everything was recorded right. In fact, I ended up putting down all the orchestra and recording all of Donnie and Marie vocals and our vocals, all the background singers. Jay was involved in actually choosing all the music, which was a big job.
You know, like the little bit country, little bit rock and roll segment. Jay spent a lot of time trying to figure out, okay, what songs are they going to sing? Jay was the one responsible for all the terrible choreography. Jay
you know that Donnie and Marie signature stuff that we used to do?
You know,
that
all
was
those
all
terrible.
Jay.
That was Jay. Thank you, Jay.
Alan and Merrill got involved in producing the show.
Merrill came up with a lot of the crazy ideas we did. And Jimmy just danced with chickens.
Tweedly, 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 bum! On down by the lazy river, come as you please. Down by the lazy river, one big family, yeah. You rock alone, you won't be long. Just bring your guitar and sing your song. Down by the lazy river, everybody follow me.
Donnie is an incredibly bright and incredible talent. And Marie is the same, and the two of those together just played off each other so well, almost like Sonny and Cher.
You know, we've received lots of letters from all of our friends out there.
And of course, you know, well, I get a few more letters than Marie, so.
Donnie, we don't count the mail addressed to occupant.
They're enormous producers, and they were always so grandiose, I'd say, that can't be done. And it would shut down the conversation whenever they heard me say that, and they'd look at me like, haven't you learned there isn't such a word as can't? And they really believe that.
Donnie and Marie also paired up to record several successful pop albums. Their first hit, I'm Leaving It All Up to You, was #4 on the Top 100 charts. They also received an award for Favorite Country Duo at the 1976 American Music Awards. That same year, the Donnie and Marie Show won a People's Choice Award for Favorite TV Variety Series. One of Donnie and Marie's frequent guest stars was their baby brother Jimmy, who by this time already had an extremely successful career in Japan. Jimmy was the first of the Osmond family members to earn a gold record as a solo artist.
Good night, everybody.
Back in the States, the Donnie and Marie Show was rapidly approaching its final episode.
The original Donnie and Marie Show ended back in 1979. And we just wanted to go our own separate ways. We wanted to do our own things. Of course, we were solo artists before the Donnie and Marie Show, and we just wanted to keep pursuing that.
The Osmonds had built a successful musical career as a family. But as they grew older, they also grew tired of the relentless pace of show business.
And when the Donnie and Marie Show ended, and I felt like breaking up with Marie, and we both felt like, hey, it's time to separate. Can you imagine the resistance that we got? Because it's the end of an era.
I think everybody's careers do this. If it doesn't, it's not normal.
The entertainment business is so fickle, and it's like we call it riding a roller coaster.
I mean, it's up and down and up and down. It just depends how many times you want to keep climbing up to the next peak, you know.
Although the Donnie and Marie Show had 4 successful seasons, separation was inevitable. The Osmond family decided to part and go their separate ways. When we return, the Osmonds deal with life out of the spotlight.
I think the entertainment business really did hurt us in some ways.
And Donny Osmond rolls with the punches.
And I thought, oh my God, Donny Osmond's gonna kick my butt. I'm gonna have to leave the country.
Next on Famous Families. By the early 1980s, the Osmonds' popularity was fading. Alan, the leader of the group, branched out into television production and produced live events with brother Merrill.
I learned how to produce fireworks spectaculars with marching bands and choirs and so forth. So then, my brother Alan and I put together the Stadium of Fire in Provo, Utah, which is one of the largest live events every year, 4th of July.
Wayne's love of flying led to a jet pilot's license.
Funny thing is, I could fly before I could drive a car. Have my mother drive me to the airport, and then I'd fly around all over the place, and then she'd come pick me up because I couldn't drive, but I could fly.
And Jay, a first-rate drummer, got a degree in public relations.
I decided I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go out, and I'm going to be a normal person. So I tried out for football at BYU. I aced my college courses, and I even became a counselor at the university just to see what it was like to do something different than show business, and it was a great experience for me.
Despite their celebrity status, the Osmonds weren't immune to life's challenges. In 1987, Alan was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. 8 years after Alan's diagnosis, Wayne discovered he had a brain tumor.
I always had headaches, migraines, and since I was a little boy. So when I was 44, I had this removed from my brain, and they didn't have much expectations for me. And by the goodness of our Heavenly Father, I've been very blessed, and I'm still here.
I think that a lot of the things that happened to my family would break most families up. And it's amazing to me. Well, it's not amazing. It just shows that we love each other.
I think probably the most challenging obstacles we've come up against, not necessarily money, but what fame can do to you.
We always had this image of the perfect family. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but we had our problems too. There was fighting, there was bickering. I am surprised at how well we did get along together because of the amount of time that we spent together. But we had our moments.
Life after his early fame was especially tough on Donny.
There are emotional traumas that one goes through when you are the biggest teeny bopper in the world, and you've had millions of screaming girls after you, and then the next day you wake up and it's over. That's tough.
Ironically, the squeaky clean image that made Donny so popular as a teen idol hindered his career as an adult.
That was probably the most difficult time in my life, to make the transition from a teen idol to an adult performer. And in many people's minds, that transition still hasn't happened.
In 1989, Donny Osmond collaborated with Peter Gabriel. The result, Soldier of Love, gave Donny's career a jump start and put him back on the charts, this time as a rock and roll star. Anxious to shed his teeny bopper past, Donny made some risky choices to promote his new image.
It was so fun. This bout that I had in Chicago, it was with Danny Bonaducci, and it was for charity.
The fight was billed as the fight between good and evil. Guess which one I was? And I just started slugging away and slugging away and slugging away.
And I just beat the living daylights out of him. I hit him so hard his face mask flew off.
And I thought, oh my God, Donny Osmond's gonna kick my butt. I'm gonna have to leave the country.
Sports Illustrated was there, ESPN was there, and all of them said I had won. They declared Danny the winner.
Out of the ring, Donnie took on the challenge of the Broadway musical theater, earning rave reviews as Joseph in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
And so we both eventually ended up in musical theater. I was doing Joseph, Marie was doing The King and I, Sound of
Actually, I did
Music.
Sound of Music for 2 years. That was so much fun.
A year later, Donnie lent his voice to the character of Shang, the hero in Disney's animated feature, Mulan.
And as I'm singing this voice, I look at my children, they're all beaming ear to ear with smiles, saying, wow, that's my dad up there.
As an adult, Marie Osmond also had her share of ups and downs. Her first marriage in 1982 to BYU's basketball star Steve Craig ended in divorce.
Well, for me to sit here and say it wasn't difficult would be a lie. I mean, of course it was difficult. I know I did the right thing for myself and for my son, and you really find out who your friends are, do you know?
A year after her painful divorce, Marie married her second husband, composer and music producer Brian Blossel.
I have 6 children, and 12 years of marriage, and he's just the best.
Marie continued her career in show business and recorded and toured as a country music performer.
You could have a life and a family, and they loved it. You could sing about real songs. And it was kind of my decision. That's what I wanted to do.
Over the past 2 decades, as Marie sharpened her musical skills, she developed her business savvy. Marie's many projects include clothing patterns, books, and videos. Her greatest success has been her own line of porcelain dolls.
Marie is an incredible businesswoman. She's incredibly bright. However, her #1 commitment in life is to her children and her husband. And I don't think anything will ever be more important than that to her.
I love professionally to strive to be good at what I do. But there's nothing that I love more than my kids.
She really does like the whole idea of being a mama and staying home, teaching the kids and all those kinds of things.
Marie's love of children extends well beyond her own family. She devotes considerable time to her favorite charity, the Children's Miracle Network.
Now, these kids and millions more have been helped by CMN hospitals. Now, they're the reason that we're all here today.
Marie, along with actor John Schneider, are the co-founders. The charity was inspired by the hearing impairment of her 2 oldest brothers, Verl and Tom.
The Children's Miracle Network originally stemmed from the Osmond Family Foundation. And then the whole family, of course, became very involved with it and very excited about it.
Although the other Osmond siblings were having successful careers out of the spotlight, none of them ever lost their love of performing with their family. Coming up next, the Osmonds are reunited on stage.
Hey, what do you think about coming to Branson and doing 2 shows a night like we used to do? And they all said, okay.
And it's take 2 for Donnie and Marie when Famous Families returns. During the early 90s, Jimmy Osmond began visiting a small Missouri town that family friend Andy Williams had raved about. What Jimmy saw in Branson, Missouri marked a new turning point for the Osmond family.
I bought this little theater here in Branson, Missouri about 6 years ago and wanted to get back to all the fun we had together. And I called them all up and I says, hey, what do you think about coming to Branson and doing 2 shows a night like we used to do? And they all said, okay, without even thinking about it.
There was just something right about it. We all had to risk, but we all knew that this was the right thing to do. The image is right, the philosophy is right, what do you think? Let's give it a shot. So everybody just dropped what they were doing and they came to Branson, Missouri.
So Jimmy is somewhat their backbone today. To bring the Osmonds together once again, giving them an opportunity to continue to shine and do the things that they were born and bred to do.
Down by the lazy river, come as you please. Down by the lazy river, one big family. If you're all alone, you won't be long. Just bring your guitar and sing your song. Down by the lazy river, everybody follow me.
My brothers got me up on stage in Branson, and we sang Down by the Lazy River, we sang Crazy Horses, we sang a lot of the old hits. It was a blast, and the audience had a blast.
And every night, 2 shows a day, 6 days a week, they still keep coming, and I don't know how it works, but it does.
How you doing?
We don't want to ever do this if people aren't going to enjoy it, or if particularly we don't enjoy it. But we enjoy being out there in front of the people performing. We love to see their smiles and their response to what we do. And hopefully we can keep doing it for another 15, 20 years, maybe.
Burl and Tom, the two hearing-impaired Osmond siblings, remain active in the family business, designing and printing all the materials needed by the Osmond organizations. Brother Alan, who hadn't missed a performance in 41 years, still sings, but does not perform. He devotes himself to writing children's books and spending time with his family. The other original Osmond brothers and their children perform in Branson twice daily, except Sundays, which are devoted to their strong religious beliefs and to family togetherness.
I just enjoy so much working with the boys. I work on, meet every bus, shake hands with practically every soul in every bus, and then normally I sing one song with them.
In Branson, George and Olive attended every Osmond family show until Olive suffered a stroke in April of 1998 and the couple returned home to Utah.
And now we're very excited to introduce you to four very talented entertainers. Let's have a warm welcome for the Osmonds' second generation.
One of the Osmonds' greatest Branson success is the next generation.
I came home and they were playing our tapes and they're singing it in harmony, not just unison. And I said, Suzanne, did you teach them that? No, they're doing it themselves. And I said, wow, I'm afraid we're going to have this thing reoccur in our lives. And they said, wouldn't that be fun? I said, only if they do it because they love it.
In 1998, Donnie and Marie were back together again, this time as the host of a talk variety version of the Donnie and Marie Show.
Please welcome Garth Brooks! Honestly, it's so much fun to work with him again. We're having the best time. It was like it immediately clicked back. We've been working a few months now in the show, and it's like old times. It's really wonderful.
But more than any professional success, the Osmonds find their greatest joy in their large and loving family.
I have certainly learned an awful lot from them as a family. They're like my second family.
Family means to the Osmonds absolute trust. They place family before their careers in show business. They always have, and I believe they always will.
Family means a sense of security in a crazy world, particularly in a world called show business. I want to be known as a great, versatile entertainer. But more importantly, I want to be known as a great dad.
Am I going to be remembered as a star or a good dad? And I'll take a good dad any day over a star.
Being a mother now and having my own family, there is no greater joy in the world. My goal in life is to be a happy grandma. Because, you know, you can have all these awards that the world can give you, but there's nothing like those arms around your neck.
You're pretty close, baby.
And we believe that we're all tied together. We believe we're an eternal family, not just till death do you part in a marriage or something like that. We believe that we will be tied together forever.
It was a good life, happy life. We'd do it again. It's been a real fun trip.
I know from personal experience that if breaking into show business is hard, staying in it is even harder. It takes more than just talent. It takes drive, tenacity, flexibility, and as the Osmonds have just shown us, an overriding faith in themselves and a higher power. The fact that they're still going strong after all these years offers definite proof that whatever it is the Osmonds have got, it's still working.
Evan, stop playing with those lights.
Cheryl Ladd's new Dreamboat is a nightmare. Perfect Little Angels tomorrow night at 9, 8 Central, part of Family Harmony Week on Fox Family Channel. This family will make your family seem normal.
New for the new year, it's Fox Family Channel's Monday through Thursday lineup. The new Addams Family.
Must be doing something right.
Show me the funny.
You show us your funny, we'll show it to the world.
Another new Addams Family and back-to-back episodes of Life, Camera, Action. Ring in the new lineup Monday through Thursday starting at 6, 5 Central on Fox.